Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to give you the top 7 books that I read that helped me to quit my job in just 9 months after trying for the better part of 10 to 15 years. Before we get started, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss a W-2 prison break video. Okay, it was a lot more than just reading books, but these books I really feel are important, and they're going to really cover a variety of topics, not just about making money, but about mindset, about relationships. It's really going to encompass all areas of your life. And that was missing for me for a long time. If you don't know my story, if you haven't heard my podcast, or if you haven't watched any of my YouTube videos, then you'll know that I was in a job for 17 years, traveling. I was away from my family. I was away from my young son. I was flying 100,000 miles a year. I was trying to get out of that. I just felt stuck. And I did start a lot of self-development work way before I actually joined a mastermind. And I was ready. I was preparing myself because, again, I wanted a different life. And these books that I'm about to share with you right now really, really helped me get over that hump. I had a lot of self-doubts. I didn't believe in myself. I wasn't sure if I was capable of a phenomenal life or of starting my own business. I just simply didn't believe it. These books, these authors, they definitely helped me. So the first one, a lot of you are going to be very familiar with this, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that is really the book that opened up my eyes to the possibilities of generational wealth. I just didn't think that way. I was programmed like everyone else from a very young age that, hey, we're supposed to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, go to college, make sure that you're working for that company for a long time and working really, really hard and climbing the corporate ladder and have your retirement benefits and your health insurance. And then one day, maybe if we're lucky, we'll have enough money to retire at 65 and live for the rest of our life. That was my download. I firmly believe that. My father taught that to me. My grandfather did the same exact thing. And that's the path that I was headed on. I read this book and everything started to change. So I can't recommend it enough. If you have not read the Purple Book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you definitely want to add that to your list because it certainly was the catalyst that got me thinking differently and led me to a bunch of other books that I'm going to share with you in this video, but really got me to the point where it's like, okay, hey, this is possible. Like, I can do this, right? I'm capable of doing this. The second book is Live It by Jairek Robbins, Tony Robbins' son. And the biggest takeaway from this book is he teaches us, and I share this book with all of my coaching clients that I coach either one-to-one or in a group setting. I share this book with them, and this is the foundation of coming up with your vision for your life, your personal vision. And he goes through an exercise in the book where you write out your ideal day. Like, hey, what does your ideal day look like? You have a magic wand. There's no limitations on money. There's no limitations on anything. Don't worry about the how. What is your ideal day? What are you doing? Who are you with? What are the smells? What are the sounds? Be as specific as possible from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you go to sleep. And you want to write this out with pen, paper. Don't type this out. Write it out. Have fun with it, play with it. And then what you want to do is read it back multiple times. I read mine every single day, my ideal life, and then that'll help you start to program and to manifest stuff into your life. Like, hey, if I want this ideal life, I have to start taking action. So really, really important book to read. I can't recommend it enough. Okay, so the third book, which most of you have probably read, but if you haven't, it's a must read, whether you want to quit your job or not, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Super impactful book. Biggest takeaway for this book by far is how we interact with people. Okay, I was a salesperson. I was a salesman for 25 years. And if I would have read this book when I was in sales, I would have been a lot better at sales, because I was of the mindset where, hey, I've just got this product that I'm selling and I need to shove it down people's throat and tell them how great it is, features and benefits, as opposed to listening, right? Asking questions and listening and letting the prospect talk to you and tell you what their problem is. And then you go in and try to help them with a solution. The great thing about this book, why I love it so much and why I've read it multiple times, is it really, really teaches you about human behavior and really get an understanding of human behavior. And that's going to help you in your relationships. That's going to help you in your business. That's going to help you in your current W-2 job. So I can't really recommend this book enough, and that's why it made my top 7. All right, the 4th book is The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. This is a really, really awesome book. It's a short read. I love short read books. But this really teaches you the foundation of money. It's an older book. Like this is, you think about Babylon. I mean, this is, really older book. You're thinking about the foundation of money, putting your money to work. And again, this was recommended from Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I just went ahead and read this book and I was like, wow, this stuff is really starting to make sense about putting your money to work, right? Getting it out there so that it pays you a return versus holding on to it and putting it in savings accounts and just not getting your money to work for you. All right. Put your money to work, get it to work for you. We don't want to trade time for dollars. We want to be buying assets, right? We want to be buying assets that pay us money. That is ultimately going to be the way that you are going to get to generational wealth for you and your family. The next book, which is also a movie, is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I watched this movie for the first time many years ago and I was really blown away by it. I had not really known anything about the law of attraction or manifestation, and it really just resonated with me and landed with me. And I've got a cool story about this book because I have watched the movie and I have read the book. So the person who really resonated with me the most in the movie The Secret was Dr. Joe Vitale. And I remember watching the movie years ago and I said, you know what? It would be really cool to talk to that guy. I said that. Sure enough, years later, Dr. Joe Vitale, who's written over 80 books, like he is Mr. Manifestation himself. He's very well known. He's in this movie. He's on my podcast. He was on the W-2 Prison Break show. I got to interview him and he coached me on some stuff that I was challenged with when it comes to visualization and manifestation. Just really, I mean, the power of the book, actually, it was just interesting how that happened. So I love the book. Now, he did tell me on my podcast interview, and I would recommend you check that out. It's on this channel. You can watch the video, the interview that I had with Dr. Joe. He said, look, you have to take action. You can't just wish stuff into your life. He's saying this, right? But you do have to take action. But you can start to manifest and attract. You just have to make sure that you're actually doing stuff. It's not just going to happen because you're hoping and praying, right? So great book. I've read it multiple times. I would recommend reading it in a setting where, it's comfortable, right? Like I read it on a beach. And I was just kind of like manifesting and the universe was speaking and, the ocean was there. So it was really cool read. The next book, number 6 on my list, is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I've read this book multiple times. I worked with a money mindset coach about 2 years ago. She recommended it to me and it really, really landed with me well. And what the book goes through is our upper limits, right? We all have what's referred to as an upper limit problem. Like we get to a certain level of success in our lives, and then we subconsciously sabotage ourselves, self-sabotage ourselves. And this book, which is only 200 pages long, I would highly recommend reading it because it's going to help you be aware of some of those situations in your life. Think of times in your life where, hey, I've had success, like I achieved this particular result, and then you go maybe down a few notches, or you take a nosedive. Like you don't get above your upper limit. This book teaches you how to get above the upper limit, and Gay's message is you can be happy all the time. Love this book. I've read it multiple times. I'm currently at the shooting of this video, listening to it on Audible. Can't recommend it enough. The last book, number 7 on my list of top 7 books that helped me quit my job in 9 months and live and start the business of my dreams, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Again, I really wasn't a spiritual guy. I was just all business, and I just didn't really tap into, what was going on inside of me. And one of the things that I wanted to work on, because I wasn't really doing a good job of it in my 30s and my 40s, was I wanted to have better relationships. So I was recommended to read this book, and it was truly life-changing for me. Again, to understand how people accept love and how they receive love. This is not just for your spouse. This is for your other family members. You could apply this to your friends. You have to understand what people's love languages are, and there are 5 of them. I'm not going to give them away. I want you to read the book, but this is a life-changing book for me. I've read it multiple times. I've had better relationships as a result. And again, I love these books that aren't super large. It's an easier read, and it's really, really eye-opening. He recommends that you read it and then you give it to your partner and you guys have a discussion about it. All 7 of these books there's going to be links below that you can just grab those and pick those up if you want to. I really appreciate you watching the video. I like to read. I also like listening to Audible. Sometimes I'll do a combination of both, like I'll read it and then I'll put it on Audible, but however you consume it, just make sure you get those 7 books. And you'll be on the path to being able to exit your W-2 job in hopefully the same timeline that I was able to leave mine. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.